I never believed in urban legends. They always felt like fanciful tales spun to frighten children around campfires or to spice up bar conversations. That was until I moved to a small town in the Pacific Northwest where whispers of the vanishing hitchhiker buzzed in the air like a swarm of angry bees. I heard the stories, lonesome roads, a beautiful girl in white, and an inexplicable disappearance. But I brushed them off as nothing more than idle chatter until one fateful evening. It was a gloomy night, the kind where fog clung to the asphalt like a shroud and the moon glimmered faintly, obscured by shifting clouds. I was driving home late from work when my headlights caught a glimpse of something on the roadside. A woman dressed in an old-fashioned white dress, her hair cascading like a dark waterfall against her pale skin. She raised a hand, and without thinking, I pulled over. She climbed into the passenger seat, a chill snaking through the car as she whispered her destination. I remember her voice, soft yet haunting, laced with an urgency that sent shivers down my spine. As I drove, the atmosphere thickened. The air grew heavy, pressing against my chest. I dared to glance at her from the corner of my eye, and in that moment, everything around me faded. The trees warped into grotesque shapes. The night warped into a blur, and her visage became clearer, too clear. Her eyes were voids, swirling mist of darkness that drew me in. "Where are we going?" I asked, my voice trembling. She didn't respond. Instead, she pointed ahead, directing my gaze to a narrow path veering off into the woods. Panic gripped me as I realized I had no idea where we were. Then, just as suddenly as she appeared, she vanished. The seat beside me was empty, the door ajar as though she had never been there at all. I parked the car, heart racing, and got out to search. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth, the kind that feels alive and hungry. I sensed movement among the trees, a whisper carried by the wind. "Help me," it hissed, too soft to decipher. I called her name, but all I got in return were mocking echoes. When I returned to the car, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, stalked. Months passed, and the memory of that night faded. But every night since, I dreamt of her, her lost eyes, her desperate call. I would wake, drenched in sweat, convinced that if I wasn't careful, she would come for me next. And then one morning I received a message, a photograph of the woman in a local article dated decades back, her disappearance unsolved, the same haunting gaze staring back at me. I hadn't just picked up a ghost, I'd become part of a tale that refuses to die. Now I drive the unsettling road with caution, and every time I see a shadow by the roadside, I can't help but wonder, what will happen if I stop again?